right, so last week we showed how to make sweet potato pudding, and that was made with sweet potatoes, but today we're showing something without sweet potatoes because not everybody likes sweet potatoes, and this is, it's a hot fudge topping. So you can use this on pretty much anything you can think of. And I'm going to show you the lower calorie version of it, but there's always a higher calorie option for anything. So first you're going to start with is some water. So it's 2 to 3 cups divided. So if you want a thicker pudding or a thicker fudgy topping, you want to only do 2 cups of water. If you're looking for something that's a little bit thinner, which is kind of like what I gave you, you want to add a little bit more water. But that last cup of water, you want to add very sparingly. Because otherwise, if you add it all, you might get something really thin, which is great if you're just drizzling it over pancakes or something like that. But if you're having it on something that needs a little bit more substance, then you don't want to add as much. So you want to start with 1 cup of water. And then we're going to add our cashews. So some people can't handle cashews because they are part of like the poison ivy family. Go figure. So it gives them like a scratchiness in their throat. So you can use blanched almonds instead. I know, who knew, right? So with these cashews, I soaked them in hot water just to soften them up, and then I rinsed them really, really good just because they dry out in the open, and who knows what's crawling over them as they're drying. Next we have Carob powder. So most people know the Chatfields brand. This is just a container that I refill because I buy it in bulk. That you can get in bulk like 4 pounds at a time through Country Life, which is way cheaper than this. So you want to do about 6 tablespoons. And if you're an exact measurer, I'm sorry, I'm going to drive you crazy right now. But if you're not, then you're fine. So about 6 tablespoons of that. Then we have our dates. So these are dates that are already pitted, and you can use chopped dates if you want. You just want to soak them first because dates, it's a dried fruit. So if it's dried, it's going to be a lot harder than if you add a little bit more moisture into it. So these I have soaked. I had and make sure you get the pits because otherwise, even though it says it's not pitted, still check your dates because when I made what you guys tried, I heard and I'm like, oh, there's a seed in there. So I had to strain it and find the little itty bitty seed and then finish blending it. It drove me nuts. So just check your dates. I didn't check these ones all the way. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So we have our dates in there, and that gives us our natural sweetness. So if you have a friend that is diabetic, this is not a recipe that's going to spike their blood sugar levels because dates have fiber and everything, and so it's going to give them more of a stable spike versus a high spike in a middle. All right, then we have our salt. The salt. And you can use less salt if you don't like salt, or if you like less salt, you can use less. Just make sure you add a little bit, because it's kind of like cookies without salt. They just don't quite taste right. Maybe just a pinch. Then we're going to add some coffee substitute. So on there it says coffee substitute. This is a coffee substitute. So this is Capex. There's also Roma, and there's Pero. And basically it's just made out of grains. So this is made out of barley, rye, chicory, and sugar beets. A grain, yeah.
Where do you get it? I've never heard
You can get this online at Amazon. You can also usually find it at health food stores like Better Health or Whole Foods, or you can get it. You can get it at Meijer. But really, it's just like it's kind of like instant coffee, except for it doesn't have any side effects and it doesn't have the caffeine. So it has a flavor if you like the flavor of coffee, which in my BC days I was a coffeeaholic. And so I do like the taste of it. All right, so a little bit of that in there. And then we have our vanilla. And I buy my vanilla in bulk. No, this is not lemon juice. It's just a lemon juice bottle. I save my bottles. So I add a little bit of vanilla. And then, I just messed you guys up. Okay. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. So you were supposed to blend the 1 cup of water with the cashews. And let that blend for a while. Yeah. How come nobody told me? Nobody told me what I was supposed to be doing.
You didn't give me a recipe. I couldn't find it.
I didn't give you a recipe? What? All right, so we're gonna see how it goes if you dump everything in there because you got distracted or because you're recipe and you get distracted and you just put everything in there at once, it works. And I still have quite a bit of water left here, so I will finish blending this after we get off camera, but you want to blend this for about 2 to 3 minutes, just so it's nice and smooth. If you have a more traditional blender where it's not higher powered, you want to blend it for a little bit more. So basically just let this go, wash your dishes, come back to it, and it should be nice and smooth. So if you want to make this into fudgesicles, I did not write this down, so you want to write this down. Instead of using water or soy milk, so water is obviously the lowest calorie version that you can do of this. You want to use canned coconut milk if you want to make these into fudgesicles. So you do this, and you want to do 1 can of coconut milk and maybe just a little bit of water, or you can do more coconut milk. But you would blend it all the same, and then you would pour it into popsicle molds, and then put it in the freezer.
Yeah, you have on 2 to 3 cups water or soy milk.
Right, so you can use, so the lowest calorie version, if you're watching your calories or even told to watch your calories, you want to use water. If you haven't been told to watch your calories, use soy milk. If you want something rich and sinful tasting but still not bad for you, use coconut milk.
Is this water?
Yeah.
That is water.
You can use all 3.
Yes, if you want to, if you had some leftover coconut milk from a can, dump that in there. If you have some soy milk, dump it. You can mix all 3 if you wanted to. But usually I try to do the lowest calorie version for you guys so that you can at least try, be like, oh, lower calorie, we don't want to use that one because it's gross. Well, now you know it's not gross because you just tried it.
I know I do, but I'm fascinated with this.
Oh, good. Good.
Had anything like this before.
So
How much is a serving?
How much is a serving? Well, considering the ingredients, as much as you want.
Works for me. I'm a diabetic.
Well, maybe not all of it then. So one thing you can do with this is we like to put this on our pancakes. Sometimes we like to put it over oatmeal to kind of make the oatmeal not so boring. Sometimes when we have it a little bit thicker, because once you refrigerate this, if you're using the only 2 cups of liquid, it thickens, and you can almost like tip it upside down on a spoon. We like to put it on toast with some jelly. That's really good. Or what you can do, is you can take your ripe bananas, you can put them on a popsicle stick, and then you can dip them in that, and then put them back in. But you want to start with frozen bananas. So you want to put your banana, your ripe bananas on a popsicle stick, stick them in the freezer, cover them with wraps so they don't taste like freezer. And then when they're and you dip it in your freshly made carob and you stick it back in the freezer. I forgot my nuts. I was going to sprinkle nuts on them and I was going to put coconut on them, but getting out the door today was just fun. So I have some of these, so maybe some of us will have to share because I didn't make enough.
If you have dishes, you can have one.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, it's super simple, super easy. There's so many different ways that you can use this. And it's healthy compared to its counterpart. Any questions? Any questions?
Yes. Yes.
Wait, what's your question?
Is there any more?
Is there any more? Yes, there's more. All right, that's all. And I'll put the, so you'll be able to watch this later if you want to revisit what you should and should not do or what can work or not. And I'll put the recipe on the Lansing plant-based cooking Facebook page. So,
Do we have one of those?
and for those that can't see on camera, there's like children surrounding this counter right now. So, all right, there you go.
Yum! Yum! I want only. Oh my god! Mommy, look at this. Looks good. Mom, what is this? What is this? It's chocolate. It's not what we already ate.